Warning. Warning. UFO detected.
Hello again, time for Game of the Week for July 15th. It is X-COM UFO Enemy Unknown. It's actually sold on Steam under the name UFO Defense, which is the original North American name. Enemy Unknown is the European name. It's a fun turn-based strategy game. It's the only reason anyone cares about the XCOM series is because of this game. The games that followed it were not very good. Anyway, so we're gonna start a game. We select a base. Good thing to do when you select a base is when you first start a game, just pick a game and just go and put a base anywhere, and then look what your funding options are, so that you can figure out what your best funding is. It's not always the same, but pretty much the same countries are always at the top. It's just the exact amount is different. So there you go. You take a look. You see the planes they give you when you start, and this is the default base. You get 3 hangars. You see your transport and the 2 interceptors. You see your research. So your research weapons and stuff like that. As more as you capture alien weapons, you can use them yourselves once you research them and how they work. This is where you equip your craft. Shows your crew. You notice the names are from all over the world, all ethnicities. The game takes place in 1999. This game came out in 1994. That's where you manufacture things. At the beginning, there's nothing you can really manufacture. Sell sack will be where you get a lot of your money. There is the monthly funding, but once you get your alien stuff, you'll begin to sell it to make extra money. And we build some facilities. The time 10 is just the days it'll take to build it. It's always a good idea to build alien containment at the beginning because you need a place for the aliens that you capture, if you capture them. Eventually it's important to capture them, so you need a place for them to stay on your base. So look at your funding options. You see the US is at the highest. It usually is the highest, but you'll notice there are other countries that are nearby in terms of the money they give you. Your best bet when you put a base down is to find one that gives you the most coverage of the country, so that it comes to the greatest amount of money, because you want to keep them happy. The happier they are, the more money they give you. If they become unhappy or you neglect them, they will either leave the project or the aliens will make some deal with them. There we go. Now we're just gonna take a look at this UFOpedia. Later on, as you get things, it's where you look up stuff. Now look at the graphs. Shows you alien activity, so you can see where they're coming from. It's a good idea when you want to narrow down where a base is. You see the graphs. You see all the different countries and the money they give you, and how they all add up. Now I'll show you what I mean by trying to cover the amount of area. I picked a base in Korea, and in it I can cover, in comparison to the US, just covering US, I can cover Australia, I can cover Japan, China, India, and also Russia. By now we've already gone more money from that area than we have from the US and Canada. So it's up to you. Some people will feel like a home base advantage. They're Americans, so they want to put their base in Americans, or for me, I usually put a base in Canada. But you want to make sure you're in a place where you can cover at least part of another continent. The aliens will also invade cities, so you want to make sure that you can protect the cities, because they'll try and kill civilians, which can be very negative to your funding. There we go. We got a UFO finally. Just accelerate the time here. Simply have your combat options, how you want to do the attack. So look at what the craft size is. There's a standard template of all the UFO crafts. The aliens may be different inside them. There might be a different number of aliens, but pretty much it's going to be a similar amount of aliens and the same interior structure. But there are random maps for the exterior parts. We'll take a look. There we go. Your basic stuff. No armor, just a gun. clips, make sure you always have them. Grenade. So you look through the ethnicities. They're, black, white, female, and yet they all turn out to be blonde white people. So we go out here, simple turn-based. You get a certain amount of time and movement speed. There you go. Each shot gives you different chance of accuracy or uses more time units that you have. I tend to just, when you're playing on easier difficulties, you can use snapshot a lot and get away with stuff. At the beginning you have very little in the way of weapons, just basic weapons, no armor, nothing to help you. Warp ahead now and see what happens. This is, near the end of the game. You can go to the alien bases, so you have armor, you can take a hit. Got much better weapons. The red on the back means that it's a flying suit, so you can also hover when you have this armor. It is turn-based, but if they're set to auto-shot or you're set to auto-shot, when something comes nearby, your guy will automatically shoot at it. This woman is equipped with a stun bomb because in this mission, alien base, you really want to capture the important aliens to learn where they come from and finish the game. So there you go, it's stunned. Within a few turns it'll get up, but so you want to finish as quickly as possible to make sure you capture as many as possible. See, show an example of ending a turn. Pops up, decides better of it. Now we look at it, see the graphic is different for the flying suit. Different weapons. The blue is a med kit in the other hand. There's an important alien that I've captured, the ethereal commander. If you notice, she doesn't have a weapon because they can also use psychic abilities on you that make your guys panic or go berserk, and they'll drop their weapons or shoot their weapons anywhere. You can also build tanks later, as this is one of my tanks. To move around, tanks have a lot more movement speed. They can't fit in certain areas, but they're good. And I'll look back at the funding now. This is the funding for a current part in the game. You notice that China is taken out of it. When that happens, if everyone else is positive and one country leaves, it means that the aliens have made a deal and there's a base in their land. And there you go. Now you see that I have 4 bases at this point, and I'm covering a lot more area. So you've got Africa, we got one in Ottawa, we got one in Perth, Australia, and one in Moscow. Good way to make sure that your radar system is taking as much as possible. This is a look at the UFOpedia. Gives you information on stuff. This is the best ship you'll build. The Avenger. You look through, this is the original interceptor you start with. Mid-range stuff you can build, and then weapons. By looking through this, you have a reference point, kind of like having a manual which tells you everything. For the aliens, there's 2 entries for each alien, one for if you capture them alive, and one when they're dead. Adds a little bit more to the story, so to speak. Look through and you can see parts of the ships that you have captured and researched. Also, if you interrogate certain ones, you can get specific details on each ship class and what it's for. Eventually, this is what you want to look at. You capture high-ranking ones, and you can eventually solve the puzzle of where the aliens come from, and then deal with it. Once again, showing up facility building. Now look at the armor. So you started with no armor if you were in the first clip. This is the second armor you get to. Then a heavier set, and then you can add a flying piece to it. You notice each one the armor is significantly higher. I'm not sure why it gives the shocked face. Anyway, we'll just take a quick look around the world to see what I'm covering. There's my Perth, Australia, there's Moscow, there's Ottawa, Canada, and there's one in Africa. That's the game of the week, X-COM UFO Defense, or Enemy Unknown.